Okay, good day everyone. Today we are going to discuss chapter 1 of our subject ES 52, Engineering Management. And chapter 1 here is the field of engineering management. So here we will talk about what is the field of engineering management, what is its composition, what it encompasses, no? But purely we will discuss here management. Actually, most of the time in any organization, the problem is about management. Okay, why is that? This administration feel because maybe what happened to or how the managers or the leader or the president or the CEO discuss everything, like for example mission, vision, targets, the whatever the target every year of the organization, the activities. So when the leader feel to discuss everything together with the organization, then it will result to, or the members of the organization, then it will result to failure. Okay, so to start with, we have here the first topic, the functions of the engineer. What is really the function of an engineer in a certain organizational structure, or in a company, in our organization, or any organization? Okay, so we have these functions of the engineers, which encompasses the following areas. Okay, so we have here first research. An engineer can be a researcher. Okay, so research here refers to a conversion of any phenomenon into a design and later on into a reality, no? So we can be a researcher as an engineer. Okay, so that is especially what the people in academia are doing, no? Or any company, they are doing research. Okay, as we said, any phenomenon, any idea, convert it into uh, certain reality through design and manufacturing and production later. Okay, so next we have an engineer can work for a design and development. From this research, then you have this output, then try to convert this into an idea, a design, and after that, develop if it is successful, no? If it is successful one. Then we have also this testing. So whatever the output or the design that may come out, no, and then develop, maybe for example develop a a sample, or okay, so try to test. Okay, this time testing is not anymore problem, no, because we are in the world of computerization and high technology. So we can test our design through simulations, computer, not similar to the same to the previous, no, that the engineer, when they were able to design something, they are going to test the strength, for example. If they are going to test the performance, then they have to do it actual. Like for example, designing cars, they have to let this sample or first output to work, to perform, by really let this car move. Okay, and if it is necessary, if it is a if the strength is good or tested, then they have to let this car bump. so that they will be able to measure the strength of this car, if it is really good or having good performance, speed, for example. But this time, okay, so we have all this technology, so they just test it through simulation, through computer simulations and other programs and applications. Okay, so in other words, we can work for uh, we can work in testing facilities. No, engineers can work as a personnel in charge of testing the performance of what we designed. Okay, so next we have manufacturing. So if everything is done, testing is done, we have all this design, then try to manufacture. Okay, to produce okay, to reproduce, and after manufacturing, which is one of our field to manufacture, then we have construction, for example. No, we have this the building design. Okay, the design of the civil engineers, for example, can be either horizontal or vertical. When we say horizontal, it is, for example, bridge or road construction designs and so on. Or when we say vertical, we have the building construction, condominiums, high-rise building. So we will construct after the design. Okay, and also we can work in sales. Okay, of course, this time entrepreneurship is encouraged. No, we can be in the field of business. Okay, in the field of business. But of course, when we say sailing, okay, we will sail related to as an electrical engineer, for example. Sell products related to electrical engineer like generators, motors, any other electrical devices, and so on. When we say civil, if you are civil engineer, for example, of course you're going to sell related to civil engineering, like construction materials and others. No, mechanical engineering, then sell any other related to machines. Okay, and the rest of the fields. No, so engineers can be salesman, a businessman, or entrepreneurs. Okay, so that is also encouraged. No? Then also we have this consulting. Okay, so we can work as a consultant. Okay, so consulting. So maybe if you're going to engage a consulting, be sure that you are experts in our own field. If you will become an electrical consultant, then of course we should have to learn. You have to study. You have to read. You have to open everything to become a good consultant. No, enough, and might of course uh, equivalent or equitable to whatever compensation will be given to you as a consultant. Okay, so next we have, of course, we can work in the government. Okay, we have like for example for civil engineering, civil engineers. Most here in the Philippines, uh, the Department of or Office of Municipal City Engineering are presently led or headed by civil engineers. Okay, so of course, any local government units have its own engineers to work to uh, especially infrastructure projects in any localities. No, so that is why we need engineers in a government service, or even in offices, government offices, local government offices, like the office of building officials, the engineering department. So they have their own engineers. So we can work in any government agencies. Okay. So teaching. Okay, teaching. We cannot we will not become an engineer without teachers, without faculty. Okay, so that is why we need teachers also. Okay, this is one of the heroic act or profession that engineers, successful engineers, cannot be a successful one without faculty or without teachers. Okay, so next, we can be a managers. Okay, especially in any organization, production, in an industry or anywhere, managers or management is very important. We call this one, these people are called engineer managers. Okay, so that is where most of us are, of course, targeting to. No, that is our aim to become a manager. So for you, do not just aim to be an ordinary engineer, but of course we aim to become a manager. Um, Most we aim to become our own company later. Okay, so that is where the engineering encompasses. Those are the areas that the engineering encompasses. Okay, so let's proceed to the engineer in various types of organization. We have several types of organizations in a company. So, like for example, okay, it is the organizations are classified according to the degree of engineering jobs. No, so the degree of engineering jobs. Okay, how big, how important, what is the authority, what is the responsibility, the accountability of an engineer. So, with respect to its level of or degree of importance, responsibility, as I've said, or authority, as I've said, then that corresponds to the uh, type of the organization. Okay, so we have this level one. So when we say level one type of classification of the organization, those that are less engineering uh, engineering field applications, no. So, like for example, no, just to give an example, agricultural works and activities, like this background that we have. This is the Musman Peak, and then this is the rice field of the Central Mindanao University. So, if we work as an engineer here, okay, so it is we have less responsibility for an engineer here. What are the engineers that will work? Who are engineers who will work in these rice fields? Of course, the agricultural engineers that will maintain the irrigations, okay, the design of the irrigations, and the mechanical engineers work also here, machineries and so on, no? So we have this kind of activities need only a very small level of engineering jobs. Okay. Okay. So that is considered as level one classification of an engineer. Okay, or organization. Sorry. Next, level two, of course, medium. No? Medium classification. So we have already here designing, okay, and then operations, maintenance, and we have all this level 2 engineering job. Okay, so seems that it is not all, no, so jobs or organization that working, not uh, working uh, less or medium application of an engineering field. Okay, when we say level 3, so level 3 here are this is an organization that is composed of professional engineers, professional civil, a professional electrical and mechanical, another agricultural, another field. Okay, so this is level 3. Designing or whatever, no, that the organization really involves engineers. So this time, as we know, that offices is not just an office of a single program or a single profession in engineering. It is now a group or a team that will talk or discuss the science and so on. It is a team already that composed of several experts in engineering, that even including IT or the computer experts, no, programming, software developing, and even what we call this one, hardware development or production, no. So the organization this time is composed of a is a combination of different programs or professions. Okay, it is not the same in a previous organizations. That if you are an electrical engineer, then this group, this organization is really composed only of electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, civil engineer, composed only of civil engineers. Okay, this time it is already composed of several experts and professions. Okay, so if the composition of this organization is uh, majority is or are an engineer or engineers, then this is considered as um, level 3 classification of an organization. Okay, so we have these various types of organizations. Okay, so we have next we have here what is engineering management. Okay, this time we will now try to incorporate engineering or engineers into a certain group or in a management profession. Okay, so we have here. Okay, so we have to define. No? We have to define what is engineering management. Okay, as for definition, engineering management refers to the activity combining technical knowledge, okay, technical knowledge with the ability to, number one, we have organize. Okay, so engineering management therefore refers to a the combination of this technical knowledge taken from the academe, discussions, classroom, or what we got in our like for example what we did now, we have our class discussing anything in engineering, then we have this already technical knowledge, no. Then if you're going to combine this with this ability to organize, then it is engineering management. Okay, organize, organization, creating or an organization, or even just organized activity so that there will be a smooth flow of the operations. So you have to organize everything. Okay? And also, not only just organizing, but we have to coordinate. Okay, we're talking about coordinate. We have to coordinate worker power. Okay, so this is the power of your subordinates, laborers, supervisors, lower level supervisors, and other, no, in the work places. So you are going to coordinate, no, your technical knowledge coordinated to your people, your subordinates in the organization. Next, we are going to coordinate materials. Okay, technical knowledge coordinated to materials. Now take note that we cannot proceed to our work, we cannot proceed to our activity without the presence of materials. Logistics, for example. Okay, that is one of the problem in any activity that we are we are okay encountering problems related to materials supply, for example, in a construction, for example. Okay, we are now lacking or we don't have any supply for cement, any supply for gravels and sand, for example, or any other materials in the construction. That is really a problem. So we have to coordinate also technical knowledge with this material, availability of this material. Then of course machinery, no. So take note that this time you will be working to make our job easy. Then we have uh, to implement interfacing with machines, no. So how to do this? Then management is also important. Engineering management is also very important. Okay, to coordinate technical knowledge with these machineries. Okay, so as I've said, always that do not let your subordinates becoming more obsolete. You must have to upgrade your machinery. So we must know how to coordinate with this technical knowledge with these machineries. Then of course money. Money is very important. I just make it as the last item here in coordination, money. But of course, we cannot work, we cannot do without financial support, supply, or financial, if we have financial problems. No projects, no activity, no design that will what do you call this one? Prosper, of course, without money. Okay, so management defined. We are now trying to go deeper with our discussion to have this engineer become a manager. So what is management? Okay, so management therefore is a creative problem solving process to achieve the organization's mission and objectives through number one, planning. Okay, so we should have to start in planning. Okay, so that is very important. Do not just jump to a certain activity without planning. You might lose everything. You might neglect or important thing if there is no planning. Okay, so next we have this after planning we have organizing. Okay, so we have this organizing, and then this organizing is very important. After planning, we have all these things here. Then try to we have now this organizing period where you're going to create a committee or any other sub organization, or try to organize a group to perform, to implement what we planned. Okay, what the activity planned. Okay, so that the flow of the implementation will now be smooth, no? As I've said, by making this organizing or organizing the group. Okay, of course, organizing that may continue to leading good leaders. Try to identify good leaders in your organization. Okay, so leaders which know many things, or leaders who are convinced to the activity that was planned. Okay, so that is very important, no? That they are convinced that whatever planned activity are now viable to whatever activities that we might have. Okay, controlling also. So that is very important. Okay, so control the, uh, of course, personnels, control the financial, control everything. Okay, so these are this is the definition of what is management. Okay, I will repeat. It is the creative problem solving process to achieve organization's mission and objectives. Mission and objectives. What is the mission, the objectives of the organization? It is through planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Okay, so now let's discuss the process of management. What is process of management? Okay, so management is a process consisting of, therefore, planning, organizing, and then leading. So as we mention it, okay. So we have this leading or directing. So again, management is a process of is a process consisting of planning, organizing, leading, or directing, and of course controlling. Okay, so it is the process. Planning, not just planning. We have to organize to implement our what we planned. To lead, okay. Of course, leaders should be or shall be selected from the cream of the crop, no? And then controlling also, so that we'll be able to implement our project, our activity in a smooth process. Okay, so management also must seek the following. Okay, if you are the manager now, if you are the president, if you are the leader, even in the small organization, then you must have to seek this following item. Number one, find out the objectives of the organization. Okay, so find out the objectives of the organization. Okay, um, of course, we don't have activities without objectives, without target, without me, or without the vision. So we should have to. That is the first thing that you are going to do if you are the manager. Determine the objectives, the aim, the objectives of your organization. Out of that, think of ways on how to achieve them. Okay, so think of this is the time that you will be able to exercise your creative thinking. Okay, your ability of creativeness, no? So think of ways on how to achieve them. Do not wait for your subordinates to think about it. You as the manager will be the first one to think how to achieve all these objectives of the organization. Then try to decide on the ways to be adapted and the materials, resources to be used. Decide on the ways to be adapted and the materials, resources to be used. So in other words, the in planning period, you have all these ways. Okay, you created some procedures, the list of these procedures, the system that you're going to apply, and so on and so forth. Then you have to think, okay, decide the ways that, of course, the output of thinking to be adapted and materials, that is very important, or material resources that you're going to be that to, being used to implement this project. Okay, so determine also the human requirements, the human resources. Okay, so that is for the total job. Okay, try to determine human resources. How many engineers? How many line supervisors? How many so on and so forth. No? So laborers, how many staffs, utilities, so on and so forth. They try to determine all these human resources requirement of the total job. Then also assign specific tasks to specific persons. This is somewhat a problem later. If there is a complications, there is what we call as uh, a misunderstanding of the job descriptions, of the job assignments. Why? Because maybe your subordinates, maybe your people will might think of this might result to uh, or dissatisfactions, no? So if they are not happy with their job because you were not able to assign the specific persons to a specific specific job, okay? or a specific task. Okay, so staffing is also very important. Okay, as a manager also, or another uh, item, the process of management is motivate them. Okay, so we have all these personnel, you have all these laborers, you have all these workers, then uh, how to maintain the good performance, the the pace of the job performance, how to maintain it. So then we have to think of motivation. Try to motivate. Okay, try to motivate. And anyway, later we will know what are some motivation, uh, how you're going to motivate our subordinates. And the last one here is provide means to make sure that the activities are in the right direction. Try to evaluate. Try to, most of the time, check if our worker, if our line supervisors, for example, are still working in the right path. Evaluate. So that is why maybe annually we have this what we call as evaluation, evaluating not only the performance but also evaluating also the status of our uh, project or our industry or our organization. So we have think to provide means to make sure that all these activities are in the right direction. That is the weaknesses or one of the weaknesses of the managers, that they only rely on their line supervisors and the rest of his employees. What will happen? Then maybe they are not in the right track. So management problem. Okay, so what are some of the requirements for the engineer manager's job requirements? Okay, anyway, we have several requirements. Our office of human resources have all these things, but a manager, then we should have to try to identify what are the requirements for to become a manager, an engineer manager, related to a specific job. Okay, so we have this. Engineer managers must have the following qualifications. Okay, so more or less they have this bachelor's degree in engineering. Of course, we are talking about engineering job here, so they must, or they are, or they must be a graduate of a specific program or a field or a profession in engineering. So bachelor's degree at least. But in some cases, no, it is said here that master's degree in engineering or business management is required. We we are also, we have some organization that that master's degree, PhD or degrees, okay, or in other words, academic upgrading qualifications are necessary. Okay, so that is why as soon as you will graduate, then do not be what you call this one? Do not be contented with the BS degree that you have, but of course, try yourself also to upgrade your academic qualifications, PhD, masteral. So we have that qualifications. Then training and supervision. So more or less, you have to become a manager. Then you must have a little training of this supervision. Anyway, training can be achieved or can be done in actual, in the field of in the actual field operations, or it could be done through seminars, workshop, and other related activities. Okay, so training, so in supervision. Then another qualification. Okay, so another qualification. We have a few years experience in a pure engineering jobs to be a good manager, engineer manager. Then at least you are exposed on several uh, activity in several job which is in relation to your, or in other words, in relation to engineering jobs. That is very important. Okay. Of course, if you don't have experience, then try to try yourself to read, to study more in engineering management to become an effective engineer manager. Okay, so the last here is special training engineering management. Of course, it is very clear. Special training, workshops, trainings. Okay, but of course, you can do it later if you are already a manager. Okay, we have here one may become a successful engineer manager. Then how to become a successful engineer manager? That is very important. Okay, as I've said that we have several managers, several leaders, several presidents that failure, if of course not really a failure, but maybe uh, not so efficient because they lack something in management. Okay, so some of us will just say, okay, management is very simple, but of course, for me, talking about management is of course simple, but if you're going to apply what we have as a manager, it's very hard. You will be working to somebody which have different line of thinking, different what you call this one, characteristic, different from different walks of life. Like for example, laborers. So they have their own line of thinking, they have their own line of understanding. So that is why it's very hard. Okay, so we have some suggestion here to become a successful engineer manager. Okay, first one we have here uh, ability. Okay, this is the first three general preconditions achieving lasting success as a manager. You have this ability. So that is why it is not as simple as walking along the streets now. But you must have this ability. You must have this what do you call this one? Training, all these requirements. We have those qualifications, and if you have all those qualifications, then I think you are now ready to become a manager. You have this ability. Okay, so that is first one. Second one, we have, of course, you have the motivation to manage. Okay, so maybe you heard that several people are just forced to manage. They don't have motivation. They are forced to do this managerial job. They don't have motivation. So what will happen to the organization? Failure might will happen. Okay? So see to it that motivation is there. Motivation to manage. Not only salary, not only financial, but of course motivation of everything. Okay? So motivation to manage is another thing. The second preconditions to we have this lasting success as a manager. And the last one here is opportunity. Okay, you have this ability, you have this motivation to manage, but you don't have opportunity. Okay, next is we have this opportunity, opportunity to become a manager. Not all in your organization, in your company, in your office, not all have this opportunity to become a leader. And even in your classroom, in your classes, in your organization, class organization, not all become president, not all become vice president, not all become an officer. Okay? So we must have this opportunity. Opportunity to what? Okay. So opportunity to find a supportive climate once in the job. When we see climate, that refers to your subordinates, the workplaces, that we have this supportive um, if you are already the manager, if you are already the CEO of the organization, the president of the organization, try to think of finding climate and supportive organization or members of the organization. That is very important. No? Okay, and another one here is not just finding a supportive climate, but of course, obtaining a suitable managerial job. If you are an electrical engineer, try to think of an a job which is related to electrical. Okay, if you are a mechanical engineer, then you try to think of managing a mechanical field or mechanical job. Okay, it's very hard to manage if you are an electrical engineer, a civil engineer, for example, and your work is about machineries. Your field or you are managing a machine or machinery. Okay, so that is very important. You have to obtain a suitable managerial job. Okay, so those are the things that are very important in discussing the field of engineering management. I hope that you learn many things and you are now ready to manage. No, as I've said, some of us might think, okay, can I do this? Is it okay for me? Do I have this ability to work as a manager in an organization, or a leader of an organization? But of course, try to take the opportunity if it is given to you, or if you are accepted, if you apply being a leader, then if you are accepted, then it could be learned. Okay, so with this subject, engineering management, and your ability and your opportunity and the motivation to lead, I don't uh, I don't have doubt that you will become a good manager. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next video. Okay, so that you will be notified, and try to um, subscribe, try to click notification to uh, my channel. Okay, thank you very much and good day to you.